Hello and welcome to Understanding Narcissists. Thank you so much for joining me. In this episode, I want to talk about perceptions. Perceptions, beliefs, and what a narcissist's real goals are, even if they're implicit goals, things that they're not actively thinking about. I've touched on this topic before, but I want to go into a little bit more depth because, like a lot of things I talk about here, there's always more to it. There's always more to get into. There's always more advanced stuff. And there's more stuff that I figure out, too. That I learn from you, that I learn from other people, that I experience. And I kind of reach kind of a deeper conclusion. I learn more about it. And this is definitely one of those topics. Because I'm pretty sure that a narcissist is not sitting around thinking about what they can get people to agree with them on and reflect back onto them so that they can believe it themselves. I don't think narcissists are thinking about that. I think that's what they do, but it's not something that's active in their mind. So with a narcissist, there's always there's great contradictions and dichotomies, those chasms in their mind that I think we all have, but theirs are somehow exaggerated. Maybe they're stunted somewhat, so those things never really reconcile. And so they believe a lot of things and contradict themselves without necessarily realizing it. And the perception really comes down to what people believe is what is true. And so what they can get people to perceive and think is true, and especially what they can get people to believe that they've reached themselves. Because I've said this many times before, narcissists definitely leverage that if they can get you to reach your own conclusion and make you believe that it's your own conclusion, even though it's something that they engineered, you will believe it ever more strongly. Because there's no resistance involved. You're not acknowledging that someone is forcing this upon you. You think it's just happening around and that's what you've observed. Well, the narcissist is tampering with what you've observed. And family dynamics and stuff is especially where I see that, pitting people against each other and looking like the reasonable mediator when they're the ones who really caused it. They're the ones who really instigated that conflict, and some way or another, they benefit from it, they enjoy it, and it does seem to be the perception that it grants them. In that you see it, you believe it, maybe people start to believe it as a group, that power in numbers, and that benefits the narcissist, and then the narcissists themselves can see it, and that can be the reality. And that's enough for them. They like that. It's also important, too, to recognize that, especially in the family environment, whether this is a side note or not, I think it's relevant. The family is trained to support the narcissist. So even though I would wager that most families with a narcissist don't sit around thinking they're a narcissist, they may not even consciously accept, difficult as this is to believe, they may not consciously accept that there's something deeply wrong with them mentally, that there might be mental illness involved, personality disorder, and they are nonetheless conditioned to accommodating that disorder because they've grown up in it. That's been their environment, and the narcissist has been making that environment. So they go right along with everything, and they get those gut feelings just like you do, just like I do when the narcissist is around, and that enabling kind of drive where you that instinct is telling you better do something or something bad is going to happen. They're giving off those signals, the narcissist is. And so all that stuff works out without people realizing it. And that's a big part of the perception kind of mechanism. How everything has to reflect back and be what the narcissist wants. Now, of course, the narcissist can't be that perfect engineer of the environment. No person has that control. The kind of precision and calibration that a narcissist has to have over their environment to really get what they want. Yes, they can be social. I won't say gregarious, but they can be outgoing and social to manipulate others. But really, as I've said 1,000 times, they work within the family. They work within a household. That seems to be their domain. The perceptions are harder to control outside of that. Yet, you and I both know they can still pull it off. Pretty impressive. Especially in specific environments, kind of locales. As I've said before too, the grocery store. People they see on a regular basis, maybe in a commercial setting like buying food. The cashier or something. I've seen that again and again. They kind of build this little relationship type thing, and they get a little bit of supply from it because that person supports them and believes something about them. Maybe it's somebody that they get to admire them or wish they could somehow be together. The narcissist is very good at that. They build up this image like that person's who's vulnerable, and kind of somebody that's predisposed to supporting narcissists, the narcissist is scoped out, and they think, boy, that's really something. That person is really someone that would be good for me. I wish I could have them. The narcissist loves that. And that opportunity might arise because their marriage or their relationship, the narcissist's marriage or relationship, may not work out. It implode, and then they got to have people lined up. I think another big thing, or the big thing about perception, is that it's universal. The stuff I've described about perception relates to everybody. What people see and what they believe. We've all got that going on. It's not just the narcissist. We don't necessarily have to have it reflected back onto us so that we can believe it ourselves. We may have the strength to believe our beliefs and hold our convictions, or just the stubbornness to hold on to them. But I'm pretty certain that we don't engineer them most of the time. And so while we have that connection with narcissists, the perception, what's so appealing to us when we see it, when we think about it, and how we like to believe it, the narcissist actually goes about in a covert way, but maybe not in a completely deliberate way, engineering it and trying to cultivate it amongst the people that are around them so that they can create this sort of mini cult, this family cult that holds the narcissist up, because otherwise whatever they're afraid of will happen. They will fall. They don't have that illusion. They're terrified of losing that belief. That really cult of personality is what it is. That's so far as I can tell. And with that fear driving them to produce it, and whatever's in them too, that they try to build this character that really doesn't exist, this person who they are, wherever it came from, probably young, probably something their parents bestowed upon them, probably their childhood environment in that high pressure and probably emotionally desolate environment. You have to ask yourself, how can they possibly do all that? As a theoretical thing, it's totally out there. Like if I had never experienced any of this myself with narcissists, I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't. I'd look at it and go, that's absurd. But having experienced it, and you having experienced it most likely, you know what I'm talking about, and it really is otherworldly. And you have to ask yourself, well, what is that connection? Just how aware of it are they? And they have to recognize that other people can make up their own minds, and what they see and what they experience will influence the conclusion that they reach, and how the narcissist can so masterfully get them to passively reach the conclusion that they want. The narcissist can get the enablers to believe what the narcissist wants. And all the things that going into that really is the name of the game. And as it boils down to that trickery and that smoke and mirrors, the narcissist is able to really maintain with most people most of their lives. It's an impressive feat. It's a disturbing observation. It's a disturbing thing to witness, and the fact that it happens is very harrowing. But it also gives you that richer sort of depth and background understanding that you need to really be a hard target for them. It's such a weird thing where you may come to this channel thinking, I want to learn all this stuff about recovery. I want to get this out of my life. And it's like all I keep doing is cramming stuff into your head about understanding narcissists, when really you don't want to hear any more about understanding narcissists. You don't want to learn more about them. You get to experience them every day, whoop-de-doo. You don't need any more. That's the last thing you want to talk about. That's the last thing you want to listen to. And yet that's the very thing that can help you really understand yourself and your own vulnerabilities. I think that's the thing about these kinds of videos when I go into the vague properties like perception. When I start talking about perception and what people believe, and I start kind of isolating that itself and just talking about that, it gets very philosophical. It's kind of grounded in the behavior and the experience and everything. And I think it works. I mean, if you start applying that kind of understanding where that's what they're doing all the time, you can kind of break it and you can break out of it. But you have to have this whole holistic view of everything, and it's kind of a pain to reach that point because it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of pain. But my hope is, my experience has been that it makes you stronger for the rest of your life. So it's a really good investment. It's a really good thing to know and be able to sort of act on in your own life. And even though narcissists are very special and different from other people and other abusive types, this stuff has a universal quality to it. Narcissists are specialized. They're extremely narrowly defined, and yet there's a lot of universal application. You're going to find that controlling people who aren't narcissists, the same stuff kind of works against them. They're not narcissists. It's not as pathological. But the manipulation stuff, it's going to be small ball when compared to a narcissist, because a narcissist is just ultimately controlling. I mean, they really are the supreme being. I don't want to say that they're the top of the heap in that regard, but they may very well be for all I know. I can't say that I've seen anybody more manipulative. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. I hope you liked it. Like it if you do. Share it with somebody you think might benefit from it. Comment in the comment section below about anything that you think relates to that whole mechanism of how the narcissist is able to project these things, these shadows on the walls that people believe, and people reach their own conclusions, and how they prop up this whole kind of artificial and engineered world that doesn't exist. And really this persona that isn't real. Your experience with that and what you've seen, and variations too. I want to learn more about the niche kind of narcissists, the variations between them. Because yes, it's all kind of the same, but they're all different too. They've all got different things they go about doing, and even though they're all maybe the same sides of one coin, there's still variations. There's still things that maybe I can explore and flesh out further, and that you would find useful. So share that below. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.